Interviews based on the facilities or settings. Point 1. Telephonic interview. This interview is conducted over the phone and its main objective is to narrow down the probable list of candidates so that only the most eligible ones finally get shortlisted. This is done in the initial stages and before the personal interview. Also, when the candidate is far off, the company first conducts a telephonic interview and if satisfied, then arranges the travel expenses for a one-to-one interview. Example, interview for entry-level jobs. Point 2. Online interview, video interview or Skype interview. This interview may be done by instant messaging, online chats, email or through videos. This involves the interviewer asking questions just like in a personal interview. This is done based on situations like if the interviewee resides far off or if the interview at the appointed time gets cancelled due to varied reasons. Also, it is more convenient for the interviewer that he can fix the interview at his spare time and convey the message to the candidate a few hours before or so. Example, interview for mid-level posts. Point 3. Job fair interview. Here, the interviewer does a mini interview to know the qualifications and the technical knowledge. Then, basic technical questions are asked to know if the candidate can proceed further for the main interview. This is a very short interview to net only the potential candidates. Example, interviews for fresher jobs held at the college campus. Point 4. Lunch interview. This interview is more of a conversational interview, mainly designed so that the interviewer gets to know more about the candidate. This also helps the interviewer to assess how the candidate conducts himself in a less formal environment and how he presents himself. Example, interview for managerial and sales posts. Point 5. Tea interview. This is the same as a lunch interview, but only that it differs in the time limit. Here, the interviewee gets less time to prove himself. The interviewer here has a structured format for questioning since there is a time limit. Example, interview for positions in the fashion and glamour industry and sales posts. Point 5. Interviews based on the task. Apprenticeship interview. Here the candidate is a novice and the interview is very formal one with general questions and some skill related questions being asked. Example, interview for training programs in organizations. Evaluation interview. In this interview, a fixed set of questions are asked and a scoring system evaluates the points scored. This type of interview negates the scope of personal bias of the interviewer. Example, interview in corporate organizations. Promotion interview. This is for an employee of the company seeking a higher position for career enhancement purpose. Example, interviews in mid-level positions. Counseling interview. When employees are called and their problems and solutions are discussed within the organization, such meetings type interviews are called counseling interviews. Example, interviews in big organizations. Disciplinary interview. Here, an individual or number of employees or sometimes the employee union is interviewed for their misconduct or non-performance. This is more sort of a meeting between the manager and the employees to get the problem resolved. Example, interviews in big companies. Persuasive interview. The interviewee here has to persuade the interviewer to accept his point of view, as in case of an employee persuading his manager to implement some changes in the policy, or a sales manager persisting on selling a product. Example, interviews in mid-level managerial posts. Here comes to an end of part 4. So best of luck, stay safe and take care.